everyone. So I'm like, what do I address first? The fact that I'm in a bun. I'm about to hop on a flight, to keep it 100 with you. And clearly, when I go to the airport, I don't serve looks. I serve comfort. But before, I'm like literally like right after this, I'm gonna walk out the door. But I wanted to hop on because tomorrow is the full moon in Pisces, which makes, honestly, hi, thank you for joining. It makes so much sense. It's transiting my 4th house, and of course I'm like gonna hop on a flight to Europe. But I wanted to come in really quickly because this full moon tomorrow is one that we are most certainly gonna feel. We feel all of them, of course. Hi, hello to you. How are you? And what's so beautiful about it is that we're gonna feel it emotionally, but in the most beautiful way, because this full moon is going to be such a source of purging. I think anytime we have a major transit in Pisces, with Pisces being sort of like the last sign in the zodiac, it always signifies ending. It signifies, it sort of ties together a really large story. And so whatever is being forced to be released from your life right now, and that can be a physical thing, but I think mainly because Pisces has a lot to do with our internal world, there's a lot of endings when it comes to our relationship with our own inner dialogue, toxic cycles, and also just like the way that we are connecting to divinity, right? Like right now, your spiritual truth is going to be really, really loud. So tap into your clairvoyancies, come back to meditation, come back to prayer, come back to however you practice sort of like connecting to divinity, whether you do that through tarot or you do that through like just meditation, walking meditation, really coming back to nature, coming back to prayer, but ultimately knowing that like rest right now is key, because there's kind of like a detox that's going on, and part of that is going to require you to release what is being detoxified from your life, but the other part of it is kind of naturally happening, which is inevitably and inherently exhausting. So like sleeping in for that hour longer, especially because, honey, oh my gosh, wow, we're raw and we're real today, especially because right now, our dreams are really going to be intensified. And whenever we have like such major Neptunian energy going on, our rest, or rather our sleep, may not feel so restful because our minds are overactive and we're having like cinematic, symbolic adventures every time we're going to sleep. So like sleep a little bit longer, rest, say no to anything that isn't necessary for your energetic exertion. And what I mean by that is that when we have, let's say, more Aries transits or more socially supportive transits, we do want to be out there, we do want to be socializing and experiencing, but with a transit like this, anything that isn't necessary for you to show up to, I would really just invite you to like choose yourself, choose laying down, choose resting, and letting what's naturally happen just kind of happen. There was something that I was going to say, and then it immediately just left. That's also a thing. We're going to be a little bit brain foggy. That's very, very Pisces. Pisces always blurs lines, and it always makes like structure and like our routine a little bit just like fogged, but like in a pretty filter. So just know that like you may need to be exerting more effort to think right now, which is why, honestly, I would just really call you to rest. But ultimately, and what I think is really important, the kind of like, not the shadow aspect, but the more difficult part of this transit is that Pisces also highlights our relationship to addiction, right? The ways in which we overindulge. And of course, that can come up in the very obvious ways that you're addicted to things, but also in the ways that you don't even realize you're maintaining cycles in your life. And so if you ever really truly wanted to put an end to a cycle that is anchoring you in not evolving in your spiritual truth and in your spiritual well-being, now that's going to be very, very, very loud. And particularly, I really want to highlight like our emotional evolution and our spiritual evolution, right? There are other transits, for example, like Taurus transits, that are going to show us how we can evolve in our financial states. But like for this specifically, if you want to evolve in your spiritual wealth and in your emotional wealth, you really, really, really want to look at what toxic cycles, habits, ways of being, and patterns have anchored you in devolving or staying stagnant, and know that those are really going to be brought to the forefront right now. So like whatever emotions are coming up, whatever conversations are coming up, whatever heaviness is coming up, a lot of heaviness is kind of in the air right now, especially if you have any major transits, or rather any major placements in Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, or Pisces, the mutable signs. You're really going to be feeling this one. I am Sag rising and Pisces Venus, so I am just, like I said, about to hop on a flight to it's a whole thing. But the point, honey, is that it's really going to be very, very loud, but loud in a sense where you're realizing that the only thing that is anchoring you in staying in these like stagnant ways of being and in these cyclical ways of being is personal choice. And so letting it go, and letting it go by understanding where it stems from, understanding the root of it, is going to be really, really, really important. So there's going to be a lot of realizations coming up right now, a lot of loud conversations. Also, we are entering Mercury in retrograde, which is, you know, always for us. The planets are always working for us, never against us. So this is all obviously cohesively working to end a very large chapter in your life. So reflect and look at what's ending right now. And when it comes to where I want to be spiritually, where it comes to where I want to be emotionally, what am I addicted to that's keeping me planted in where I am rather than being there? And addicted to, sometimes we can make victimhood our persona, and sometimes we can make trauma our identity. So look at the story that you've continually told yourself and see how you can finally sort of mark the end of that chapter, what conversation needs to be had, what conscious choice needs to be had, and coming back to taking power when it involves, your spiritual evolution. Let me see what else I wrote. Yes, this will be a harsh reality check into our lives of where our addictions in self-soothing and healthy ways actually ruin our lives and relationships. So like, you know, in what ways have you been numbing or coming back to what's comfortable and not actually facing the strength and evolution? Also, I want to say, like, just sensitivity right now is at the forefront. Having compassion for yourself and compassion for others, because we're all really in an emotional state right now. Detoxing from anything that's overstimulating you, which can of course be like the internet and social media, but also like keep your physical body as sacred as possible. So like drink a ton of water right now. Make sure, and of course, honey, like indulge. We're, you know, human beings who are meant to enjoy the luxuries of being human. But if there's any time to really be intentional with what it is that you're putting into your body food-wise, now would be that time. I don't love the idea of fasting, but like if you are someone who practices fasting, now would be a really good time. And I just got a pattern notification that's like, are you feeling sensitive today? Literally, yes. And ultimately, we're closing long overdue cycles of self-sabotage, and we're being asked to course correct. So find the ways in which you have to take charge when it comes to that course correction, and the ways in which you have to surrender to it. I'm all in this moment. Thank you. Yes, Sade is literally a living goddess. Thank you, thank you. And honestly, happy birthday to your sister. What a time to be alive. But yeah, honestly, coming back to self, resting. Oh, today's your birthday. Oh my brain read that as your sister's birthday. Well, oh my God. Well, happy birthday. And this is a beautiful, beautiful time for you to really reflect on like what of this chapter that I've lived thus far has finally come to an end, and what has it taught me about what I'm choosing to begin now in terms of how to honor my spiritual power, honor my emotional power. And that goes for everyone. But of course, I think for your birthday, it's super special. Definitely do a ritual. Yesterday, I went and I burned a list of everything that is that I'm releasing, and everything had to do with the ways in which I've, just anchored myself in an outdated way of being, and the way I've let my own mind make pleasure be conditional, and let insecurity and fear be something that I fed rather than something that I healed from. And so, otherwise, I'm so grateful that you guys have let me even offer some nectar. But yeah, when it comes down to it, if there's one question you can ask yourself, it's, what do you need to release for your spiritual growth? And that can be, fear. It can be making rest conditional, avoiding bravery. Maybe you need disconnection. Maybe you need a new food routine. Whatever the case may be, let whatever's ending, and let what's coming up move through. Pay attention to your dreams. If you're emotional, honey, now's the time to lay on that couch. I'm going to Spain, and it's so funny because this full moon is transiting my 4th house, which is the house of home and the house of safety and comfort. And to be moving for a few months to a European country is me honoring bravery and knowing that this is what I need for my spiritual growth. So I'm putting action behind what I'm saying, which, is difficult sometimes, but yeah, I'm super excited, and I'll definitely see you guys there. And thank you for joining. Walk with grace, honor your full potential. Love you. Oh, you're joining a little bit late, but you can watch the replay of this, and rest, drink water. Love you guys. Thank you. Mwah. Bye, guys.